Hey guys, Tomboy61, and today we have a little bit of a delayed review. We have the Georgia. Now, I did get early access to the ship, but I just forgot to record mod footage, and with all the battleships that came out, it basically overwhelmed me just a little, and sadly I didn't have all the footage I needed to make a review before the ship was taken away, so I kind of had to delay it until I had the ship back in my port. It's now back in my port, and oh boy, am I still loving this ship as ever. Georgia, I think, one of my top campaign ships of the year. It is just a versatile, good battleship that has quickly become one of my go-to ships. I am absolutely loving playing Georgia. So, with all that said, as always, we're going to go ahead, talk about the stats, the mods, the commander build, all that good stuff, go over what has changed with our commander build to give you the final stats. Then we'll go ahead and cover a game. I think the game's really interesting this time. Short one, but it shows the 2 lives the Georgia can live, which I am always enjoying. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into those stats. So first up, Georgia is, of course, from the USA with 63,000 base XP, minimal armor thickness of 6 millimeters, and a maximum of 540. Let's go ahead and take a look at that armor view now. So as we can see, there is a fairly good amount of armor everywhere. Looking at the bow, you're looking at about 32 millimeters, meaning you're not going to be able to shrug off those 16 millimeter guns on the bow. There won't be bow tanking for you, but you should be able to fairly well protect your side with up to 38 millimeter. That will go ahead and deflect large caliber guns, assuming that you can get it to angle there correctly. Additionally, you are also looking at deck plating that is 38 millimeters, which will also provide pretty decent protection at range, assuming you're not getting purely plunging fire, but at least you're getting like some sort of angle on the shot. You're going to be protected fairly well on your deck. Finally, let's go ahead and take a look at that superstructure, or not superstructure, at that citadel, right at the waterline, right there, meaning this ship can be pretty decent in a brawl. Going on from that, you're looking at a 26% torpedo reduction. Main battery, you're going to have 3 2-barreled 457 millimeter guns. That's right, they're big guns. Sadly, you're not at the 460 of Yamato, meaning you will not be able to punch through 32 millimeters of armor plating, but it still means you're going to be punching through a lot, and you're going to be delivering a huge chunk of damage when you do. Firing range on the ship, 17.2 kilometers with a 26-second reload time, meaning if you decide to go ahead and equip the spotter plane, you're going to go ahead and get 2 shots with that spotter plane. Very, very useful. Shells per minute, that gives you 14 rounds per minute with a 180 time on the turrets of 45 seconds. HE damage, pretty small. I mean, it is large for the class, 6,450, but not much when you compare it to its AP damage. Chance of fire on those HE shells, 43%. AP damage, 15,750 maximum damage, giving you a DPM of 220,000, which puts it right in the middle as far as DPM for tier 7 battleships. But when you punch through and you hit citadels, oh boy, you just see large damage numbers, and it just makes you feel good on the inside. Secondaries, it has the usual 10 2-barreled 127 millimeter secondaries that most American battleships have. Secondary range is going to be 5 kilometers, the reload time of 6 seconds. Damage on them, 1,800 with a 5% chance to set fire. Then let's go on over to its max speed. This is one of those beautiful also features of this ship is its max speed at 30.7 knots. Much like the Iowa, this we won't really talk about history because there isn't this wasn't a real ship, but this was a proposed design for an Iowa class essentially. So it shares the hull, meaning it is a fast battleship design. Max speed of the ship 30.7 knots, but more importantly, you do have an engine boost, which does help a lot. Anyways, turning radius 890 meters. which is kind of middle of the road for the tier. Rudder shift time 14 seconds, making it somewhat maneuverable. AA suite does have a range of 5 kilometers, which is kind of what you would expect at this tier. Minimum damage 151 damage per second and maxing out at 549. So it does have a pretty impressive AA suite aboard. Finally, let's go over concealment. 14.8 kilometers by sea, 12.4 kilometers by air, and 5 when in smoke. As far as mod slots go, the first one, I think it's fairly open. I'm currently running secondary battery mod 1. I did have the main battery mod installed, but I did just want to kind of boost the fire rate, and the turret traverse speed was good enough for me, but that's absolutely a slot you could use if you kind of wanted to go with a brawler build. The other one that I tempted around with was the AA gun mod, just because if you are having trouble with bombers, with aircraft carriers, as we definitely were at the beginning of this update, I feel like it's kind of leveling off now. AA mod is also an excellent choice. Secondary battery mod is just what I went with, just to kind of help out win those troublesome situations. In the second slot, I went ahead and went with steering gear mod 2, just in order to help out with that rudder shift and to speed that up a bit. Then the only option we have in the third slot is going to be target acquisition mod. Sadly, we do not have an option to equip anything else. I would love to see something added there. The French now have a unique one that they're able to equip. The British have concealment. I'd love to see a concealment mod added to all battleships, or something unique for the Americans. I'm down to see something else there. And then finally, I'm running main battery mod 3 to help with that, with rate of fire, just to increase it even more, just to get it down to like 20 something seconds. You could absolutely also do artillery plotting room. This thing does have super accurate guns. I didn't think it really needed the assistance in the accuracy department. Let's go over it now, what commander we are running. I'm running William Sims with Scharnhorst and Andrew Cunningham. Of course, his base trait is going to be build to last. It's going to boost up the base HP of the ship. Then I'm running Flammable Cannoneer, which increases the main battery range and shell grouping for the battleship, but increases the chances of catching fire for any type of ship. Gyrating Drill Bits increases the main battery traverse speed and AP shell damage for the battleship at the cost of decreased max speed. Then Marksmanship, which increases the main battery shell grouping for any ship, but reduces the rudder shift time. Then Emergency Specialist, which reduces the damage control consumable reload time, but it decreases the duration. And then finally, I'm running Will to Rebuild. With all of that, let's now finally go over the last thing, and that's going to be the Consumables. She does have a full set of Consumables, and with our build, we are getting a damage control party, as we all know it. Duration on it's going to only be 6 seconds, and a reload time of 67.2 seconds. Then we do have a repair party with HP per second recovered of 412, consumable duration of 22.4 seconds, reload time of 40 seconds, and we're gonna have 3 charges of it. Next, we do have the kind of choose your character slot. We can run catapult fighter, spotter plane, or enhanced secondary targeting. I've been running catapult fighter, as I found that has been my go-to for dissuading aircraft carriers. But I think if we end up in a place where the aircraft carriers are no longer a threat, spotter plane, absolutely a great idea, especially because you can just get even more accurate shots, and you're going to be able to get 2 of them off with 1 spotter plane uptime. Finally, we do have the engine boost. This is kind of the unique consumable of this ship. It's going to boost the max speed by 8%. It's going to last 180 seconds, and it's going to have a reload time of 180 seconds with 2 of them. And I love this ability just because it gives you the ability, if you need to reposition very quickly, or if you need to go ahead and pump the brakes when you're in close quarters and need to dodge some torps. Also allows you to get stopped and going way quicker than you usually would. Overall, I absolutely love having engine boost, especially on an American battleship. And guys, with all of that, let's now go over the final stats of the ship with our build. Let's go cover what we've changed. So now We're going to have a max HP of 64,680, a range on the main guns of 18.5 kilometers with a reload time of 22.9 seconds. 180 time on the guns down to 42.1 seconds with an AP max damage of 16,695. Secondary range has been boosted to 6 kilometers, and finally that rudder shift time is now at 14 seconds. And those are all of the stats of the ship. Now let's go ahead and talk about a game in this, and we have this beautiful match here, which I think really covers what this ship can be, because it can either be a long-range sniper or a brawler build, and you kind of get to choose how you want to play it during a match. It does well in both scenarios, or at least I find it does really well. It can absolutely drop bombs at long range when you need it to, or if it needs to get up close and do some damage, well, that fairly quick reload time on those guns allows it to do significant damage. And as we were talking about earlier, it falls middle of the line as far as AP damage goes to the rest of the ships at the tier, meaning it performs well when it needs to get most of its guns on bear. And the good news with it having so few guns is if you're in a bow in position against someone else, well, you still have 2/3 of your firepower, and that can't be said for all of the ships at the tier. Sometimes it's only half of that DPM is available if they are bow in. So design-wise, it also does fantastic. And up here, we're going to go ahead and see what these guns can do when they're at long range. We see the Colorado out here. We line up our shot. We take it. And here it comes. Wait for it. It's a long flight time, guys. Long range guns, man. And opening salvo 17K, and you're just going to see that consistently with the ship of taking just massive chunks of damage out of people, really allowing you to just take away ships that are at broadside and are at range. This is one of the reasons I love the Georgia, because it's just accurate. Look at that fly. We hit another huge salvo, another 15K, 13K. We're up to 30,000 after 2 salvos. Beautiful ship. We nose our way in here, and we can see we're already being contested in the cap. We knew this was going to happen, and Colorado out at range is about to go. We can see the enemy ships are on the other side of A from us, but we are still able to maintain kind of our position and really assist with getting this Colorado down. 9 hits, 30,000 damage. It's absolutely beautiful, and you can absolutely run this as a sniper build, or as you're about to see, if you need to brawl in it, you can also brawl, because as we can see, our friends who are also in the A cap are about to come visit us, and we are going to do some significant damage to them. And as I was talking about earlier, the massive guns, the diameter of the guns means you can really punch through a lot of material, meaning that when you need to get in a brawling situation, you have the best opportunity to go ahead and punch through armor and get access to the citadels to do that max damage of, in our case, 16,000 damage for any sort of citadel hit. We see Z23 is here, being brave. We know he's up to no good because he's going to try and torp us. He's horizontal. We know he is probably going to go ahead and torp us. We go ahead, throw it in reverse, and we hit 1 shell on him, and we're just waiting on those guns to reload. And we can really see the enemy team going ahead and pushing through at this point. We're going to end up ceding A to them, but we'll be taking a good number of ships with a Z23. There's his torpedoes. We go ahead, we've thrown it in reverse, and we dodge 1. I think we only end up taking 1 hit here, which is the best case scenario, really. Well, 0 would be the best case, but for what we were dealing with here, 0 is the best case. We do still have our friendly destroyer kind of got disconnected, and he's going to stay frozen in this position for the rest of the battle. Sadly, we did lose his support, but now we see that their Alabama is starting to nose his way around the corner, and we're going to go ahead and put the brawling ability of this ship on display. Alabama nosing our way in, and we go ahead, activate our speed boost because we want to be able to get moving and to slow down as quick as possible. We see enemy bombers coming in. We go ahead, fire just above, and we knock one of his turrets. That is one of the nice things with this ship as well, is that because you have such large guns, you can, when you're in stupid close brawling range, as we are at this moment, fairly consistently hit those shots that are going to knock out turrets, make sure that they're disabled. Lenin then pops out flat broadside. We aim right under the turret, and we take another huge chunk out of him, getting 3 penetrations. Lenin goes down. Massachusetts now forced to go around the carcass of his former ally, and we know what's coming, so we're going to go ahead and try to kind of pop ourselves in reverse, slow down just a little in hopes that he wasn't going to turn in. We see guns right there. We get a beautiful 14k salvo into the superstructure. Sadly, we don't knock any of the guns, as that is always kind of something that you can go ahead and do. We take a fairly large hit on the nose. Of course, we do only have 32mm bow armor, which means Massachusetts and Alabama's guns, giving their sister ships, those 16-inch guns, will go ahead and penetrate straight through our nose, but we can pull the same trick on them. Guns are reloading at this point. We probably should have stayed with the Massachusetts, but we are in full reverse, counting on our teammates to go ahead and take the shots. But Alabama, a little bit more of a danger to us right now. We go ahead, hit fairly hard with him. Unfortunately, go ahead and collide with our teammate. Massachusetts now closing in on our teammate. We're going to go ahead, try to swing our guns over to Massachusetts and finish him off. And unfortunately, the Alabama does take us down. But we end up doing 117,000 damage during this short amount of time. And yeah, guys, I think this really shows what Georgia can do, both on the side of being able to hit at long range and also brawl. You saw we were doing some very impressive close quarters numbers there, and that's why I'm really loving the Georgia. Guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.